Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Glenn, how you doing? Ernie, Dwayne, Johnny, Nicoletta, Thad, Damien Pepworth, good to see you. Michael, good to have you here. I feel like half of our Consulting Unleashed and Champions people are here. Hey, Leanne, how you doing?
Hey, good.
Hey, Celia and Mike James, good to have you here. Aglia, I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. Good day, Ernie, good to see you here. Steve, good to see you here. Hopefully there's going to be a few more people jumping on as we see. We've only just hit the 1 minute mark, so I'm sure there's going to be a few hellos. Super excited with today, because today is really all about generating as many appointments as possible. So I want to talk about getting in front of talking to as many people as possible. That's probably there are two things that we need to do in our business, right? Number one, we need to just consistently make appointments. If we're not doing that consistently, then we're going to struggle in our business. And the second thing we need to do is we need to help people with what we have to offer. That's all we need to do. And the third thing is we just need to go back and do number one and number two again. Those are the only three things that you need to do in business if you want to grow and impact your business. No more, no less. Most people focus on the wrong things. Most people are caught up in the bright and shiny object syndrome. Most people are jumping from thing to thing to thing, right? These are all the things that stop us from growing and working in our markets. So today I want to probably focus on one of the most important things that drives your revenue opportunity is to actually talk to people. And how do we get them to do that? I have created a whole bunch of messaging strategies that you can use to get appointments. And then there's one thing that I've added to today's presentation that I don't normally talk about, but I kind of want to break down. The whole goal is to this plan or this idea that I've got that I will share with you. If you follow the structure or the strategy and you're consistent with it, you should be able to generate about 15 clients within about 3 months. Over a 3-month period, you should be able to build a client base of 15 clients. And what's going to happen is the way that you make this work, that's if you do it. There are people that I work with that are actually doing this, right? That if you get into this cadence, there's a couple of things going to happen from the actual cycle. Because you're working with 15 clients, your experience level or your capability levels are going to become a lot stronger. More people you work with, the better you're going to get at doing what you do, and the stronger your results and stronger your outcomes. And so what that's going to give you is that's going to give you a lot of confidence to actually charge a premium for what you do. Right? The idea is to give you the confidence, like, great, we're doing a great job, we're getting great results. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to scale the investment that each customer invests in your services. So the more people you bring on, the higher and higher and higher the prices are that you pay. So the ideal scenario, and most people really undercharge for what they do, but to me, the ideal scenario, the average client should be investing about $30,000 a year or more in your services, right? That's what you get for management fees. So let's say 36 grand would be an average, right? 36 grand, 3 grand a month that's about the average, the minimum that I would want a client to invest in any marketing services, roughly about 3 grand a month, okay? Now, lots of business can afford that. Tons of business can afford that. What I really would encourage you to do is to work with businesses where the budget is going to go to 5 grand, right? 5 grand a month, $60,000. So the range to have a really profitable client for your agency or your services, you want that client roughly investing about 36 grand a year in your services. And most small businesses, when I say small, million plus, can handle that quite comfortably. Because if they're investing 36 grand, they should be able to generate $100, $200, $300,000 back for that type of investment based on doing some pretty simple things. If you're doing Facebook ads, you can get that back for a client in a year. If you're doing Google ads, you can get that back for a client, right? If you're running SEO, and especially if your analytics are set up right, where you're looking for purchasing indicators in SEO, then you can justify $3,000 or more in services. I'm going to tell you a little story just so that you understand. And this happened to me yesterday, right? So right now I'm trying to get over a mild case of bronchitis. So I had to go and see my doctor yesterday. And whilst I was at my doctor's surgery, I noticed that he had this machine kind of wrapped in plastic that I'd not seen before in the practice, right? So he had this machine sitting there. And I said, wow, that looks new. What's that? And he says, yeah, we just got it. And he says, yeah, we just committed to 150 grand for this thing, right? Okay, so what does it do? He says, well, it actually is a really effective way and a really non-invasive way to remove skin tags, like for skin cancers and things like that. And I said, when you say non-invasive, yeah, it doesn't hurt. Like, it's super quick. It's a really cool machine, and it's going to help people, who've got skin tags. And I'm like, great. How much do you charge? How much is a session? Because I've got some skin tags, right? How much is a session? He says, well, you're looking at 2 sessions, and it's $500 per session. It's about $1,000 for treatment. Normally, the patient will spend between $1,000 to $1,500 for the treatment. Great. Why are you telling me about it? Right? Like, why are we having this conversation? Why am I instigating the conversation? Why are you telling me about it? How many patients does clinic see? So we see about, a day, we see about 300 patients a day. So if you said to 300 people that we got this new thing, do you know anybody who needs to remove some things, based on $1,500 a pop or $1,000, let's say $1,000 a pop, of the people that you share this with, every single patient that you're not doing right now, how many would buy, do you think? He said, well, worst case scenario, I know that at least 50 or 60 people a day. That's $50,000 to $60,000 a day, right? Off this thing, right? So they're open for 6 days of the week. Let's say the worst case scenario is 300 grand a week, right? That's what's that? That's $1.2 million a month. Okay, do the math, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, hey, while we're here, I'm just curious, right? Remember, I'm the patient, right? I'm the patient. I'm just being curious, okay? And we're sitting there, and I said, can we just do a quick Google search on your computer about skin tags in the area? Like, can we do a search? And he said, yeah, sure. And I started doing a search. Lots of interest in this area. Lots of people looking for this service, right, in the market, just through a cursory basic Google search. Then I hopped on a Google keywords or Google Ads manager in my account very quickly. I went, hey, let's look at some keywords for this thing. And then I said, well, roughly, you're looking at anywhere between $6 to $13 to $15 per click on a half decent offer. And if we created a half decent offer, because I looked at a couple of offers that were out there when I did a bit of a search, most people aren't doing this right. I said, like, dude, you not only the patients you've got in-house, but all the people searching out there, this should be on your Google Places listing. You should put some SEO into this, because we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue. And the doc's like, yeah, this is really cool. And I said, and this is what I said to him. I said, for $5 grand a month, ads, management for SEO to get this up, would you do $5 grand a month? That's what I asked him. He said, yeah, I'd do $5 grand a month. Yeah, he says, that sounds fair. Because remember, what did I anchor? He said to me, the worst case scenario, if I introduce this to everybody, I'm going to make 50 grand a day, right? I said, even if you made 10 grand a day, like, that's going to be 300,000 a month. That's 3.6 million a year, right? So I've anchored that price in his head. This is just out of the curiosity. I said, dude, would you spend $5 grand a month to manage this? And you need to probably throw in about $2 grand, maybe slightly less or more, to run the ad campaign on top of that. So it's going to cost you about $7 grand. Could you handle $7 grand a month? That's the question I asked him. And he said, yeah, I'd do that. He said, I don't have a problem with that. I'd do that. Great. I'm going to introduce you to somebody. By the way, Globotel, you're going to be doing the SEO on this. I'm going to introduce you to one of my champions, who's one of my people to coach. I said, because I don't do the SEO or the PPC, but I know that this will work and I know what you got. And so I rang Richard, one of my guys, and I said, make sure you follow up with Serge, my doctor. This is what we talked about. This is the price I set. He's keen, and this is the story, right? Now, I'm not in the place of marketing general practice, right? That's not my business. But purely because of the curiosity of seeing something and then just asking the questions and letting it unfold, right? He literally stepped into, we need to be doing that, right? We need to be doing that. So this is how easy it is to form a business. He's ready to sign up to commit to about $70,000 in marketing, right? He will commit to that. knowing Richard will probably get him to spend more, right? So he's going to commit to that outcome. So understand the opportunity is everywhere. The opportunity is everywhere, right? And I didn't set out to go and sell my doctor, right? In fact, he didn't charge me for the visit. I'm like, bonus, thank you very much, because he felt he got a little bit of help from me, right? I kind of felt guilty of doing this, right? But the reason I share this story with you is opportunity is everywhere. I did not set out to sell my doctor on a $70,000 SEO PPC management campaign. That's not what I went in there for. But because I was curious, and then all of a sudden that started to collapse into his story, like, well, we just spent 150 grand. But here's the thing that I want to share with you from a thinking perspective, right? So think about this could be a niche within a niche. The first thing that Richard asked me, and I knew that Richard was going to ask me this question, he says, who's the manufacturer of the machine? That was the first thing he asked me. He says, I'm going to go and find out how many of these machines they've sold and who they sold them to. Because if I can build a model out of this one surgery, what's going to happen if I can get that rolling and they're generating that revenue from our systemizing that process, then how many other practices can I go and have the exact same conversation that I did to say, you got a case model, you got a machine, you're spending 150 grand on this machine, you want this thing to pay for itself real quick. Here's how we got a practice to pay for this machine in less than 2 months. Everything after that became profit. Are you open to implementing that system, right? So that's taking a niche within a niche and then expanding the opportunity, right? Now, if you went out to the market and say, this is what we did, do you think the doctors would be open to this? Type 1 in the chat here so I know. Do you think that the doctors would be open to the idea of at least listening to how they can actually profit from the investment they made on the 150 grand machine they're not even talking to anybody about? So I said to Serge, from now on, after this appointment, you need to let everybody know what that thing is in the corner and ask them if they need it, or ask them if they know somebody who needs it. Because I'll guarantee you, they're going to either get a yes from that patient or they're going to get a referral for that machine. Every patient. You're seeing 300 patients in the day, every patient. That thing should be on steroids, right? And he's looking, he said, like, that will turn, his comment to me was like, well, that could be just a business service by itself outside of our clinic. I said, well, yes, you could become the specialist for this particular service, but you already have a client base, and then you're going to grow that client base. And then this thing, you might have to order a couple of machines, right? You might have to be making a bit more of an investment to turn this into a real business structure. So the reason I share that with you is 2 reasons. Eyes open, be curious about how people run their business and what they do. You might surprise yourself. You might step into a very significant opportunity purely by having those conversations. Think about where you are. Talk to people. You're spending money all the time. There is business everywhere, right? So understand that when your attention's on what you want to create for your business, that's what's going to happen for you. So before I get into us making a whole bunch of appointments or an abundance of appointments, I'd really love to know, just type 2 in the chat, if you took some action between last session and this session. Did you go back to the slides and apply some of the messaging, some of the 2s there? Did you get appointments? Did anybody make any sales? If anybody made any sales, just say, hey, you made a sale, and how much money did you sell for? If you got appointments, how many appointments did you make? I just want to know. Thad's been taking action every day. Stephen Sodov, George got an appointment. Johnny got 7 appointments. Who else? Kyle got 3 appointments. Who else has been taking action? 1 appointment for a Glia. Signed a $5,000 down $5,000 a month in the business. That's awesome. Congratulations. Went to a BNI meeting and they are looking for a digital marketer. Awesome, Malik. Who else? Who else took action and got a result? You either generated an appointment or you might have made a sale. I just want to acknowledge the work ethic, right? Because after today, all of us should be filling our calendars. After today, we should all be filling our calendars. So the other thing I want to ask whilst those are thinking about it, and thank you very much for those who are taking action, The other thing I just want to point out here is one of the deals that I made with you was to generate one client in the week that we had apart from each other, right? So because of this activity and because you're generating appointments, what I'd like to do is I'd like you to make a deal with yourself that you're going to close a deal by next Thursday. I'd like to make a deal with yourself. Say, I want you to write this down on a piece of paper. I am going to close a client by next Thursday. I'm going to cash in or get a sale, write it down so you can see it. I need you to be tactile about this. I'm going to bring on a brand new client by next Thursday, right? That's the goal. And I want you to put that up somewhere where you see this every day. I'm going to bring on a brand new client by next Thursday, right? That's what you want to do. I missed the first week. Mike, go into the Facebook group if you haven't gone to the Facebook group, and you can watch the replay. And I've got all the slides and all the letters and everything like that in there. So you can do that, right? I'll put up the Facebook group before we end this, so everybody's got it. If you haven't done it already, the slides and the information to generate clients from first week are there. This video recording will go into that private Facebook group, so you'll see the recording, and I will provide you with all the messaging and all the slides so you can use the slides, right? So that's the deal. So thank you for those for taking action. Thank you for all those people making appointments. We had a person made 8 appointments, which is amazing. Thank you for closing that deal. Thad, well done. Congratulations. Will I share the manufacturer that the skin company removed? No, I won't. You know, go do the work. Go and find your own skin doctor, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my slide deck. We're going to get into this. This is about generating appointments. I'm going to walk you through messaging strategies that I've used, people I've worked with have successfully used to generate an abundance of appointments. And then I kind of want to walk you through a cadence. A lot of you don't realize how quickly you can really scale and generate clients through a particular key process I'm going to share with you. It's what I would do if I was, you know, really wanting to fill my calendar and really wanting to do business. And then what I'll share with you in the tail end is how you incrementally scale the pricing point by making an offer in the way that I'm going to share the offer with you, right? So when you're working with people, it makes it very easy for them to go yes, right? The whole idea is for somebody to agree to your offer. So I'm going to show you how you incrementally scale the pricing by making it a no-brainer for people to go, I want to do this, right? So I'm going to walk you through that strategy, and everything will be laid out for you. You'll be able to go into the Facebook group, grab the video, rewatch what I'm saying, or go to the parts you want and apply. The number one reason why most people fail in this business is they just don't talk to anyone. And the number one thing that I want to encourage you to do is you need to let people know what business you are in. You need to sit and say, this week I let this many people know that I'm in this business. If you can't say that, the question is, what are you doing? Because you're not helping anybody, you're not growing your business. The whole reason for me to do this series and why we've broken it up over a period of time is to give you time to apply what you learn. Nothing works without the actual implementation of the learning, right? If you are just consuming, that's not doing shit. That is not helping you make money to consume. What's going to help you is to apply what you learn. And you will be uncomfortable. I promise you, and I guarantee you're going to be uncomfortable, but you want to be, right? Because anything worth getting a successful result out of is always going to be hard in the beginning. Anything that it doesn't matter what you do. Everybody's been, whether you're running a small business, you're running a sizable team, everybody has started where you are. Wherever you are, they've been there, right? You are not unique. You're not different in any way. It's not like you've manufactured this business out of thin air. Everybody's been there. I was there when I started my business too. When I was small, 5 clients, 10 clients, I was there too, right? But here's the thing. I often ask people, what is your intention with this business, right? Like, what do you want to do with this thing? And a lot of people cannot tell me that. They cannot give me the answer. And this tells me why they're not moving and why they stay small, is because they haven't been able to say, this is what I'm doing with my business, right? As soon as you understand that, right, you've voiced yourself enough to the market So you're actually going to achieve that outcome. But most people aren't thinking about that, right? Aren't thinking about this. If you're not actively talking to a customer today, right? If you're not actively pursuing that conversation, then whatever else is you're doing is not helping you. Whatever else is you're doing is not helping you move forward, because you're going to learn more from the interactions than you will from consuming shit. You can watch as many videos as you like on YouTube. There's a ton of people who will tell you how to grow shit, right? But watching those videos is not going to help you. What's going to help you is having those curious conversations of the people around you and the ones that you instigate. And I'm going to make sure that you have every resource possible to make that happen. And the only reason it's not going to be working for you is you've chosen for it not to be that way. That's the only reason it doesn't work, is you choose that. Not me, not anybody else, you. So again, I know it sounds like I'm being a bit, I guess, standing on the neck of like, let's get things done. But the reason I'm saying this is because most people just aren't doing it. And the marketplace is so full of opportunity. It's so full of looking for your help. There's so many people who need help with AdWords and Facebook and SEO and websites and landing pages and copywriting and automation. Let me tell you, it is busy out there. It's busy. So if you are not busy, nobody knows that you do what you do. That's why you're not busy. Okay, so let me share my screen. I'm going to make sure that this is going to work for you guys. Just want to make sure where the slide goes. Okay, it's going to be there. All right, let's rock and roll. Okay, just give me a thumbs up if you see Global Toll B2B Sales Series Day 2 Appointment Alchemy. Awesome, thank you very much, I appreciate it. All right, number one, income generating activity, right? Your number one income generating activity is focusing on having a conversation with a purpose to help people with what you do. That is the number one income generating activity I want you to focus on as part of what you do. What you focus on most becomes real to you. If you don't focus on setting appointments, you're not going to set appointments. It's pretty simple. If you only focus on setting appointments, guess what? You're going to generate appointments, right? I would earmark at least 2 hours a day in your business. If you're not doing anything else, not busy doing anything else, I would spend 2 hours a day messaging and asking people to a phone call with me. That's what I would spend. If you did that 2 hours a day, you're going to be in a situation where some of the people I work with are getting appointments every single day, because they're asking for appointments every day. And I'm going to show you where there's a bucket load of places you can ask for appointments in a moment, but it's what you're focusing on. Most people don't focus on setting appointments, and that's why they've got no appointments. If you can't set appointments, what I would do, if it's not me, I would hire somebody else to do that. It'll cost you between $500 and $800 to hire a VA to literally just message people that you're targeting out there in the world. And then when they come into a conversation responding, is to pass that person on to you, and then you can go and close the sale. You can go from $0 to $1 million in less than 4 months doing exactly what I just said. Where you are not responsible, you make somebody else responsible full time to engage with the people you want to talk to and open those conversations. You'll get 1 or 2 of those opportunities a day. If you've got a person that's going to, the cost of that person is about $800 a month, probably the least you'd spend. And that person will be able to generate for you $10,000 to $20,000 a month in revenue without difficulty, right? The very thing that you struggle to do, you can pay somebody else to do. And there's plenty of competent people who do that, right? However, you still got to show up for the conversations. That's how you do that. So if I wanted to generate $1 million, I'll just have a sidekick just doing that. And when somebody responds, hand them over to me and I would take over the conversation and I'll sell them like you would sell them, all right? That's an easy way to do it. So let's talk about setting appointments. Things you want to know, all right? Number one, mindset and belief, really important. Understanding the buyer, who they are, right? What business they're in, like who you're going to serve, who's going to get the most benefit out of what you do, what their footprint is online. Are they friendly? Are they marketing friendly, digital friendly? Do they have social media happening? What are they doing, right? The more they're aware of the space that you're in, the more inclined they are to open up to the conversations. If you're going to markets that are not savvy or not don't have I guess the domain knowledge in the area that you're playing in, then you're not going to, education's a really hard path to go down. It's very expensive. I've done that many times. Doing education is very costly. So you want to see if they've got a really good footprint, bit of distribution, they're advertising, running Facebook ads. This makes them very optimum for appointment opportunities, right? Humanize your process and feed it back to them. What I mean by that is I feed observations. Like I've just told you a story about my doctor. Some of you might be having a doctor's appointment coming up, and you might relay the same story that I've just told you to your doctor, and it might turn into that opportunity. It may not do that. You might do that with your chiropractor. And somebody I just spoke to, I think Laurie, one of the people I work with, actually did this to her chiropractor. Turned her chiropractor into a client because she got curious about the business, right? So understand that you want to humanize your communication, your approach, and you want to relate to people. If you're just blasting messages out to people all the time without having that connection, then it's going to be really hard to get people to warm to you all the time. It's almost like we're expecting people to jump through hoops rather than saying, hey, we're just open to a suggestion. You're going to see this in a moment when I talk about how you go about doing this. What are the 3 or 4 things that you solve? Again, you've got to be super clear about what you do for the market. And craft relevant messages to open up the dialogue. I'll talk about relevant messages in a couple of different relevant messages. There are so many things that you can do on this level, but I will cover a few things. So I'm going to talk about some things that are odd, right? I'm going to be sharing some things with you that are a little odd. I'm going to talk about courage, right? Why am I talking about courage in appointment setting? So here's the thing. You need to stand in your purpose. Right? If you can't stand in your purpose, excuse me, you're missing out on your ability to communicate a message that is relevant and valuable to the market. So you need to own what you do. If you don't own what you do, if you're not juiced about what you do, nobody else is going to be juiced about that, right? You need to evangelize. You need to say, what I do is really cool, right? Because the more you take that coolness, other people will see this and go, I'm interested in a slice of that, or I'm interested in what you've got to do. So you've got to evangelize, right? You've got to own and love what you do. And I'll give you an example or a story about this. So we ran a particular agency. Agency was doing about 30 million a year in revenue, was doing very well. And we used to be able to take a person, we were always training salespeople, and we're always training appointment setters. So we were constantly hiring. Like we would be hiring about 15, 20 appointment setters a month, and we would be hiring about 10 to 15 salespeople every month in that organization. And so we would take somebody who didn't know what we did, teach them very quickly, and within 3 days, they're out there talking to people about what we did at the expert level that we have. We had a system and a process to train people very quickly. So I remember somebody we hired, her name was Michelle. And so, and she was keen, and she was, she'd never worked in sales before. She had done administrative work. In fact, when Michelle came to us, she was in her mid-40s. Her children had grown up, and she wanted to get back into work. She hadn't had a job other than the full-time job of looking after her family for about 15 years. Right, so this is the first job back, and so she came, and the reason why she applied is she wanted to learn about business and marketing and all that sort of stuff. And we were always encouraged by people who were excited about what we did. Right, so we showed Michelle our system, and she closed a $60,000 deal within her first 4 days in the company. Now, we record all our phone calls. If you listen to Michelle's phone call with the client that she closed at $60,000. You would cringe. There was so many awkward moments and all that sort of stuff that went on there because she didn't know. She hadn't had enough experience to get the confidence to be able to do that, to do that consistently. But she got a win. And we asked the client why you bought from Michelle, because we would ask our clients, hey, look, we often want to know why, what triggers the buy. And we asked the client why you bought from Michelle, right? And he said, she was just so excited about what you guys did. Like she just loved the idea of what you do that we just had to have a piece of that. Like we were so excited about the fact that she was so excited that we got caught up in the excitement and we bought, right? Evangelize what you do, right? Evangelize what you do. When you're excited about it, other people will want a piece of that, right? So being strong and being confident comes from owning it, internalizing it. You want to create strength, and this comes from comes out of your communication, your body language. Oftentimes when I'm doing sales calls, I'm not sitting down doing sales calls. I stand up. In fact, we have our entire team work from stand-up desks and do sales calls and appointment calls standing up. The reason why is it lifts your chest area and you breathe more. And the other thing is you're able to think, right, because you're looking up, right? You're not actually looking down. We actually raise the screens and we raise the desk so you're looking up, you're not looking down, right? It just changes your posture. It changes the essence of your confidence as well when you stand up, right, in terms of what you're doing. So what's your purpose? What is your cause? And what is your mission? Why are you doing this, right? You need to revisit this regularly. Why on earth do you want to do this business? Why is it important to you? Why does this matter, right? Why does this matter to your clients, right? You need to own this. The more you infuse this idea in yourself, right, the easier it is to talk to people, easier it is to generate appointments. By the way, we train our appointment setters more on human interaction, not technical knowledge of sales skills. We spend very little on sales skills, more about talking to humans. How do we engage? How do we interact? How do we answer questions? How do we respond? How do we relate? We spend more time. We spend 5 days a week talking about relationships. And one of those days we talk about skill set, about our product. Less about product, more about being human, okay? So people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Simon Sinek said that beautifully, right? They don't buy what it is that you do, they buy why you do it, right? What's the outcome, what's the result you're looking for? So engagement idea, right? I always observe the market problems through the eyes of the market, right? I want to be observant of how does this work for them. This is why I say to people, you want to become a student of business. The more of a student you become of business, the more opportunity you create for yourself, right? So always observe what's going on and notice. And what I tend to do when I'm noticing things is I will feed that information back to who I'm reaching out to or who I'm engaging in. So it makes it very topical, it makes it very current, and it makes it very relevant, right? Feedback the ideas to your audience. People love people who have ideas. You want to be the ideas person, right? What are the common themes that you're experiencing? Are they the same in the conversation you're having? I'm noticing people are talking about this in the roofing industry. I'm noticing that this is going on in the physical therapy space. I'm noticing you're using these things to relate, right? The number one reason why people buy is that you understand them. If you understand them, they know they're talking to the right person. If you don't understand them and they pick up on that, they're going, hey, I'm talking to the wrong person, right? Here's how we're helping other people like you. If you're helping other people, even if you're not helping other people and you're early in the business, tell people who you're reaching out to and helping and wanting to help. Let people know like I'm talking to 4 or 5 CEOs of roofing companies right now about this idea of improving using no-code AI technologies to automate marketing. Is that something that might be of interest, or are you open to a discussion on what the findings are of companies just like you right now doing the same thing, right? Letting people know what you're doing and who you're talking to is a really easy way to open the door to conversations, okay? I haven't heard back from you. Most people send lots of messages out and you don't get responses, right? You might have to send 35 messages to one person to get them to respond, right? The cadence so I'll use somebody that I work with, her name's Crystal Benson. Crystal's closed a little over $500,000 worth of deals in the last 60 days, right? Imagine closing nearly $600,000 worth of deals in 60 days from scratch. That's what she's done, right? And so how she got to do that is she built a cadence. And now what's happening, it took about 3 weeks to build the cadence. At the 3-week mark of messaging people every day, the same people, every day, like 21 messages, right? Eventually what happens, they start to come back and they start to respond. And then every day that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger as she goes along. So now, because she's built that track record and she's now continuing that process of contact or reaching out to people, what happens is there's a snowballing effect. Crystal's in a situation where she's getting more leads than she can handle, more appointment opportunities that she can handle. She's actually looking for salespeople right now to be able to help her to expand, because she can't handle the number of opportunities that are being created by the fact that she's been out there. Now, I haven't heard back from you, right, is one of the easiest ways to get people to chime into a message. Generally, most people don't pick up on your first message, but it's a second message that they'll actually pay attention to. That tends to get a much bigger open rate. So my favorite line is, I haven't heard back from you. Haven't heard back from you. Here's how we solve the problem. Here's how the thing that we talked about that we haven't heard back from you on, right? Here's an insight, right? I haven't heard back from you is the message you want to send to people if they're not responding. Because people will look at that message and go, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. What's this about, right? You'll be surprised that some people will connect in that way. The other thing that I'll say with you is always follow up for an appointment. If somebody that you want to work with, in your mix of touching base, you want to pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm just touching base because I haven't heard back from you. I'll go, heard back from you about what, right? And so now you have to tell them what you sent them an email, and you're in that conversation. So one of my favorite taglines with voice messages, if you want people to call you back and you're in the cadence of messaging people, all you do is, hey, Tom, it's John. Can you give me a call back on this number? Thanks. Don't tell them what it's about. You just say, hey, Tom, thanks. Can you just give me a call back on the number? And give them your number and then get off the phone. And I'll guarantee you, most times they're going to call you back, right? That's one of the fastest ways to get people to call you back on messaging. Don't leave a voice message other than just call me back. Here's my number. And they're going to go, who the hell is this? Now you've got a conversation, right? It works. We used to get a VA to literally call people and just leave that message for our salespeople. And then the salespeople will get a call and they know what the call's about. And it starts a conversation. So it's an easy way to do that, right? So let's just go and get an appointment. Oftentimes you can be very direct. I just like a meeting to talk to you about this idea or this problem. Are you open to having that conversation, right? My favorite one, and this works really well if you're working with bigger companies, is this. The subject line is executive level meeting request for this thing, for this problem. Executive level meeting request for search marketing. Executive level meeting request for paid Google ads. Executive level meeting request for Facebook advertising, right? The only people you send this to is the C-suite or the owners or chief operating officer. These are the people, decision makers, right? Now, if you get a little bit strategic about this, if you're targeting a larger company that has multiple people in the decision-making realm, you send the same message to everybody. And everybody eventually will look at each other and go, did you get this message by this company asking for executive level meeting? And they'll go, yes. And generally somebody's going to say, can you get back to that guy or that person? Somebody that receives that message is going to get back to you to make the appointment about the executive level meeting, right? It is one of the easiest ways to get an appointment with bigger companies, bigger decision makers, right? We're trying to learn if there's a mutually beneficial reason to continue some form of dialogue, right? As another way to just open up the opportunity of maybe learning or sharing something that might be relevant, right? Never hurts to look and make improvements. Often say, hey, I've got an idea. It never hurts to look and make improvements. We're talking to people who are progressive, who are really keen, who are motivated to grow. If that's you, let's have a chat, right? If you're motivated to grow, I want to talk to you, okay? So when you hear crickets and if they don't respond, how would you like to continue? All you do is send a message. How would you like to continue the conversation? They go, what conversation? Can you tell me a little bit about more what's going on? They'll respond, right? These are little trigger things that you can use, right? How would you like to continue the conversation? Place them on a drip campaign. Hey, you haven't got back to me. I'm going to share with you some of the cool stuff we've been working on just to keep you updated. We help the industry do this. We help generate these types of results. And this is our methodology to make sure people get these outcomes. So you can drip people regularly, right? As you're dripping them, what happens is people will come back, right? If they had to create a future state, what would it look like? Hey, we're looking for companies who want to achieve this outcome over the next 3 to 6 month period. The reason why, obviously companies want to either expand on developing their product, hiring new people. Are these 3 things that you're aspiring to? We've built a process that is supportive of that aspiration, right? You can set a future position for people in your outreach, right? The last one seems obscure. Oftentimes when I want to take a left field because there are some people that are like, I just know a lot of stuff, right? I tend to say, hey, let's talk thought leadership. engagement. Maybe we can learn something from each other, even if we don't do business with each other, right? Oftentimes, if I'm trying to get to somebody, say, hey, I'm really interested more from a thought perspective. If you've got a moment, I'd love to, maybe there's something I can share, maybe there's something you can share, but it might not hurt for us to have a general conversation, right? So sometimes you can use this type of messaging. It kind of takes the air out of generating appointment. So different messages you can use. These are the ones that I know work. I've used them. We've used them thousands of times. The key here, when I walk through these messages with you, I want you to iterate on the message, right? Don't just copy paste. If you want to take a screenshot, take a screenshot, but I'm going to put this recording in the Facebook group at the end of this conversation, and you'll be able to jump in and get this recording, and I'm going to give you the slide deck with all the messaging, right? So email, text, or offer, right? I'm running a cool thing in this month. I'm looking for people like you that want to achieve this result guaranteed in the next 90 days. Are you interested? Send me a quick text back, hashtag 90 days. Let's chat or call, right? I'm running a blitz campaign on increasing 20% revenue over the next 90 days for companies who specialize in the roofing market, right? I want to get those results in 90 days guaranteed. Are you interested, right? This works, okay? So 9-word email. There's a guy called Dean Jackson, very famous marketer, runs a podcast with a guy called Joe Pollage called I Love Marketing. It's a fantastic podcast, highly recommended. Dean's been a friend for years. Now, one of the things that he understands is that if you make quick, punchy offers, some people will respond to you. So you can either email or text, hey, are you still looking for, or you have your priorities changed? If you've spoken or sent out messages and emails about people interested in, whether or not they want to do a website, then you can say, hey, are you still looking for a website, or are you still looking to re-improve, rebrand, re-message, or have your priorities changed? And sometimes people will go, no, I'm still interested. Or yes, funny you should mention this, timing, right? How many times I've done follow-ups with people and say, hey, it's funny you should call. We were just talking about this the other day, right? So this is one of these impromptu type messages. Another type of messages, are you interested? 100 market qualified leads to make sales offers to this month. Are you interested in automating your appointment setting? Are you interested in showing up in the 3-pack and the maps of Google to get the organic traffic that's actually interested in buying? Are you interested in being first choice for your product category in said market, SEO, right? Are you interested? Are you interested? Short, punchy message, right? That's what you want to do, okay? So, why is that not working? Mission. Letting people know what your idea is and posting it is often a really good way to generate appointments. Hey, I'm on a mission to create this outcome. One of the things that we did in the physical therapy agency is our goal was to make physical therapy first choice for plan of care in local communities. So we said we want to work with physical therapy practices who want to become first choice for healthcare in their community. Right? That's who we want to work with. The response we got from that was phenomenal. They went, yeah, I want to be first choice. Because right now, at the time when we posted that message, they were not first choice, right? Chiropractors were first choice, not physical therapists. But when we said we want to make you first choice in the community to provide the highest level of care, that was about them, right? How do we get you in front of more people in your community through your marketing efforts, right? So this is a message or a post that we would do in Facebook groups, or it would be in LinkedIn. These are the places that I would do this, right? So I'm going to go through a couple more of these in just a moment. But just like we got a sales plan last week, you want to have an appointment plan, right? Just like you've got a sales plan, you want to have an appointment plan. So how many appointments you want to make every day, right? And then when are you going to do that? What mechanism are you going to do that? What channel are you going to use? You're going to go LinkedIn, cold email, social media, Instagram DMs. How are you going to go through and do that? You want to set an objective, right? You're looking for a type of person. If you're looking for a type of person, you want to ask, right? Who is this type of person? Or we're helping people like this now. You want to identify them, right? You want to text people, are you interested? And you can use your mission post as the offer, right? Now, here's the thing. What are you committed to doing today, right? All of you should be able to set 2 appointments a day. It would roughly take you, sometimes it might take you 5-10 minutes to set an appointment, right? I'm going to walk through what you can do very quickly to generate appointment opportunities. But if you set the intention and then put it as part of your plan, then you're going to go and do it. If you apply yourself, you're going to get 2 appointments a day. Most people aren't making 1 appointment a week, right? Remember what I said at the very beginning? Most people don't focus on making appointments. That's why they've got no appointments. But if you make it a priority in your business, this will drive your business. This will drive your opportunity, right? So get into the appointment setting mode and what is your routine? So here's the thing. Number 1, I would start with a familiar list, start with Facebook, start with Messenger. You want to look at your follow-ups that you're doing. These are the first places you would start to generate appointment. You want easy slam dunk opportunities. You want to start with a slam dunk, right? You want to start with a slam dunk. So anything that you've been reaching out to, anything that you've got to follow up, these are the areas where you're going to get appointments fairly quickly, right? That's as if you've been doing the activity. If you haven't been doing the activity, I'm going to show you what to do in just a moment, right? So you want to pick one thing and create an offer for it, right? You want to pick one thing and create an offer for the thing. So one of the things that I found that we know that we can actually curate 100 leads really, really quickly. So there's ways in which you can do that. So I can go, great. We're looking to work with a roofer, or we're looking to work with a plumber, or we're looking to work with a chiropractor or an accountant who wants 100 targeted businesses or people in their local market who are predisposed to buying what you have to offer. Are you interested in those 100 opportunities? Just give me a yes or no, or my call to action would be, what's the best phone number I can contact you on, right? So if I'm going to curate leads, so for example, we've curated, a lot of you probably scrape leads, right? So if you want to generate appointments real fast, for us, we've got 7,000 leads that we scraped in one particular category in a niche. So I would go to people who sell to that niche and say, listen, we've got a curated list of 7,000 people that are you open to collaborating with us to sell your services or open yourself up to engaging people who are predisposed to buying what you have to offer? Are you interested, right? So if I've got a list, right, I'm going to market to my list with their product or service or category, right? Most people say yes to this. Say, hey, we've been working in this market. We've got a lot of people we've been engaging. Are you open to collaborating or partnering up and gaining access to our domain knowledge, our people, the people that we've been going after, right? Because these are people they also go after too. This is channel partners. So anybody that's serving your market, you can do this too. Hey, we've got 7,000 leads in the physical therapy space. We're looking to partner up with somebody who actually will help physical therapists with your product category. Are you open to the idea of having a conversation? And most people say yes. And what I would offer to those people would be a reactivation campaign, but their list first and then your list, right? It's one of the easiest ways to get in the door and have a conversation. I've got people, right? We can plug people into your system, okay, in terms of what you're doing. So, simple message. Quick question. Are you still interested in doing getting appointments from Facebook, Google Ads, stop attracting tire kickers and start closing deals? Not lose leads or automate your follow-up. Are you interested in these things, right? Generating appointments from those mechanisms, not lose lead opportunities, or do you want to automate your follow-up? Are you interested, right, in doing that? Very, very simple, right? Very simple in doing that. My favorite message, by the way, this is one of my favorites. If you've got a case study where you've got a success, right, what you want to do is you can say, hey, we've been working with this company and we've got this result. What we want to do is we've mapped out the framework. So we've created the framework to get the result. What we want to do is we want to share the framework with other people who are in the same market. And what we're trying to do is we want to beat it. Are you interested in beating this result with us? Right? We've got this result. We've got an outcome. We've mapped out the framework on how it works. We want to share this with you because you're in this market. But what we're really interested in is we want to beat this result with you. Are you interested? Right? So for example, if you've got a client that I'll use Frank, one of the guys we worked with, is in the moving market. There was a company, he was doing Facebook ads and SEO for a removal company, over a 6-month period, they added $1 million worth of revenue from his strategies, right? From his Facebook ads and from the SEO that he was doing with the company. And so he figured it out. He dialed it in. And so they were getting the result. He also worked out that how you can get a $500, $1,000 moving job for as little as 20 bucks, 15 to 20 bucks. So his offer was, right now we're helping a removal company get $500 to $1,000 moving jobs for $15 to $20. Are you interested in seeing what we've been doing? That was his offer, right? And a lot of people put up their hand and said, 15 to 20 bucks for a $500 to $1,000 moving job, I'm in, right? I'm interested. But here's the other thing. He says, we've built a solid system where we've added $100,000 worth of removal jobs a month by using our process. What we're looking to do is to work with a removal company that actually wants to beat that result, that actually wants to beat the 100 grand and do more than 100 grand using our methodology. Are you open to talking to us about it, right? 75 moving companies that got that message, right? Of the 75 that got it, 54 of them said, we need to talk. 54 said, we need to talk. Because he basically said, this is what we did, this is what we're doing right now. We've got this, we know how to get this result. What we're looking for is we want to get a bigger result for a company that is open to working with us and wants the bigger result. That's the message they put out there, right? 54 people waved their hand in the air with a flag. Come and talk to me, right? Now, Frank signed up 34 of them. 34 of them. And it didn't come cheap, right? So the average client was spending between 5 and 10 grand a month. Do the math. 34 clients paying you 5 to 10 grand. Now, it took him 6 months to close all those deals. 6 months, right? And then he got so big that one of the companies that he worked for decided to buy him out. One of the companies that was a client saw how well this business and the model was working, that they decided to buy him out of the business, and they paid a ton of money for it, right? So if you've got a great result, lead with the result. This is what we've done. This is how we do it. Now, if you don't have a great result, if you're using Globital, which I would highly recommend that you do if you're not, and you're using their SEO services or using their AdWords services or Facebook services or website services, what I would do is I would use the aggregate result that Globital has as my black box. So this is how I would do that, and I'll just explain. So let's say I was using Globital for SEO services, and I know roughly, I think Steve mentioned there's more than 230 campaigns running in the month, which would equate to literally hundreds of thousands of visitors to websites right across the globe that are being serviced by Globital, right? And if I'm an SEO person, this is what I would say. Currently, our team is responsible for attracting hundreds of thousands or millions of visitors to over 230 websites this month, right, that are generating appointment opportunities and sales opportunities. We use a methodology that has been designed over many years to drive that traffic. Are you open to having a discussion and using our experience, the experience of our team, to increase and improve the number of people who are seeking you out so that you become first choice in your market? So if I was just starting out and I didn't have a lot of clients, I would use my resource partners' clout to go and get clients, because that's my team. That's my black box. I'm not going to do the SEO. I've got experts, right, that manage over 230 campaigns a month or more. I think there's more than that. I think I'm guessing on that one, but or more than that. You know, Globital might be managing over 100 to 200 AdWords campaigns a month, right? So now it's not me, the individual. Now I have a force behind me. I have a system and a team that is doing this, right? I'm not saying that they are my case studies. I'm saying that this is the team that we use that gets the results, right? So I would say, hey, would you like to get access to 200 people, to like to get access to the data of our team that is managing over 200 accounts a month, right? And applying the same said strategies that is driving millions of visitors every month to their websites. Are you open to at least having a conversation? So you can use your resource partner as the leverage and the experience to open up the door to the conversation. Does that make sense? That's what I would do, right? I would use a resource partner. I would say, I would literally reach out to somebody like Globital and say, great, Steve, how many AdWords accounts are you managing? Roughly how much ad spend across those AdWords accounts are you spending? Roughly, percentage-wise, improvements on, from where they are to where they want to be. Is it a 10% or a 20%, or how many leads are being generated through the system? And then Steve might say to me, well, we're probably generating about 5,000 leads a month. We're probably managing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in ad spend, and so all this information I can then go and use. So, hey, look, our team is investing hundreds of thousands of dollars building the data, getting better at what they do, and that data could be yours, or the access to that experience and that knowledge is available to you through our business, right? Are you open to running campaigns that are seasoned, that are actually getting results, right? And a lot of people would be open to those sorts of things, right? So oftentimes, I'm a big believer in scaling through resource partners. That's why I've been a big supporter of Globatel's for a number of years now. I mean, Damon and I have known each other for a long time, and we've referred many people because we know that they're in their training, their quality control is awesome, their deliverables are fantastic. In fact, a lot of my clients are using you guys right now. They keep telling me they are, right? So understand that, use the clout of a resource partner to open the door to appointments, right? If you can draw, I don't know what the offers are, and I don't want to get into that, but I would highly encourage you to go and find out what offers Globatel has now that you can use to induce appointment opportunities in the market, right? What can you use that they've got as an incentive to open up a conversation? We've been able to get our people to do this, and here's the offer, right? You can do it that way, okay? So before I show you some cool stuff on how you're going to go get lots of clients and ascend, I'm just going to stop here for just one moment. I want to be able to answer your questions if I can. I can see you all here. You have to go to Oz to book an appointment. I don't know what that means. Missed last week. Tim, you can always get into the Facebook group and grab last week. What does that messaging look like? I think I've just shared that, Malik. Apple calls their brand awareness people evangelists. Absolutely. In fact, the very first Apple evangelist was a guy called Guy Kawasaki. He was Apple's first evangelist, and he's a very famous author, very famous tech investor and entrepreneur. I send 60 DMs out per hour on Facebook to my target audience, which is AI automated. Yes, you can use AI. What are you using for automation? A whole bunch of services. There's like get a list. If the prospects never respond, but they open the email because you can track it, do you keep sending it to them? So Johnny, great question. And here's how I'm going to answer that question. I have this philosophy: you either buy or you die, right? You either buy or you die. I'm going to keep sending you stuff daily, not weekly, not monthly, not quarterly, every freaking day. We send out 30,000 emails a day in one of our agencies, 30,000 emails a day, right? Some people have gotten 50, 60 emails from us every day. Now, some people say, go away. And we say, fine, we're away, right? But a lot of people open our emails and they keep reading our emails, and eventually they come around and they'll accept appointments, right? So one thing I will say is, if the people who haven't opened your email, I would send the same campaign again to them until they open the email. I would recycle the same campaign until they open the email, right? The other thing is mix it up, right? Be relevant, provide information, use the platform so they get to know you. Remember, it takes about 36 touches to get somebody to respond once. 36, most people send one freaking email and they go, I didn't get any responses. I wonder why. They don't know who you are. How many emails do you get that you don't respond to? I have friends of mine that I've subscribed into, done the silly thing of gone down rabbit holes. I have a friend of mine, he's a big guru, right? He is in my inbox every single freaking day, every day, right? In fact, because he's in my inbox every day, and because I'm about to go to Dallas in a few weeks' time, I'm meeting up with this person, right? Now, I have bought stuff from this person. He's a friend, he's a personal friend, but I have spent money with this person. I wouldn't have spent money if he didn't keep emailing me every day, right? There's a friend of mine, Johnny Mack, who is a copywriter. He teaches people how to do copywriting and helps people establish their businesses. And when I first started working with John, he would send out a campaign once every 90 days to send out an offer for his copywriting services. So every 90 days, he would send an email. I said, dude, do you get clients every time you send an email out 90 days? He said, yeah, that's how I get jobs, right? Cool. What would happen if we sent that email out every month? What do you think would happen? So, well, we should be able to get deals every month. Okay, great. What if we send it out every week? If we send an email out every week, do you think we'll get jobs every week? And he says, well, if I iterate and do what I do, yeah, we should be able to get jobs every week. What would happen if we got an email out every day? What if we sent an email out asking people to buy every day and made it relevant, right? So John actually did this. He followed my instructions, said, great, I'm going to send an email a day. Right, before they were receiving an email every other week. Now, 25% of his list unsubscribed. Within the first couple of weeks, 25% of his list unsubscribed because he was sending out an offer every single day. But here's the cool thing. 75% of the list stayed. 75% of the list were accepting his offer every single day. And guess what happened to John's business? People were buying every single day. So he went from selling once every 90 days to selling every day, right? And so understand the cadence of messaging. Most people that I know or talk to, even large companies, are not sending enough messages. They are not putting enough out there. If you're expecting people to get to know you, to want to talk to you, then you're going to have to get better and better at relating and relaying information to, so they see you in a regular basis. We take a 36 touch point strategy, and we can get people within 15 touch points to call us. How we do that? We message them on more than one platform. We'll send an email, we'll send a DM, we'll send a LinkedIn message, we'll send a phone text, right? When we increase the cadence of messaging, the response rate's much faster. The call rate happens much quicker, right? But most people aren't sending enough messages. They're not sending enough. Right? Understand people are busy just like you're busy. And if they see you in the thread or see you in the email or see you, eventually something clicks and they will open up and say, well, what's this person all about? And you're opening up to the opportunity. If I'm going to do drip campaigns, there's 2 drip campaigns I would run. One drip campaign would be case study campaigns. Look at the results of your clients every week and then share the results of your clients every week, right? Share that campaign, right? The second campaign is relevancy campaign based on result and outcome. So we believe that if you follow these steps, you'll get a better result than what you're getting right now. The number one way, if you want to improve your Facebook ad responses or results, is this is one thing you can do right now. There's 12 different things that you can do to improve the optimization. In fact, there's more, but there's 12 different things that will significantly improve the optimization of a Facebook ad. That's 12 emails right there. If you're not doing this, you need to talk to our team. If you're not doing this, you need to talk to our team, right? Here's how we're using the same thing. I would go to my resource partners and ask them, give us some stories, share some cool results that happened through your campaign, and then go out and say, hey, our team got this result, got this outcome. Are you open to working with our team, right? This is how you're going to open your door to lots of appointment opportunities, right? So cadence of messaging every freaking day. Every day. Now, people who haven't opened, send them the same sequence over and over again until they open it. When they open it, then change up the sequence, right? When they open it, just change up the sequence. So how do you create lots of emails? Well, these days with a lot of Claude 2.0 and ChatGPT, you can create multiple sequences. You can say, what are the top 20 questions that people should be asking about said service that you provide? And then ask that to answer the questions, then ask it to write an email about it for your prospects. And now you've got hundreds of emails that you can send out where you don't have to physically think, then upload those into your system and fire them off. And then every now and again, you intersperse an email that says, hey, what do you think about some of the stuff we've been sending? Have you been seeing some of the stuff we've been sending? We'd love to know what you think about it. You'd be surprised some people respond. Say, hey, it's cool. Every now and again, I open them, interesting. But as soon as somebody responds, that's where you, again, can engage, right? So that's a really easy way to build a cadence of emails, is ask the top questions that people have, throw up and say, what questions would you ask about each of these topics? then throw those questions up and says, how would you answer these questions if you are an expert marketer? And then now you've got and then turn that answer into an email with a call to action. And then see what comes up. You'll have hundreds and hundreds of emails that you can send out in autoresponders that are relevant to your market and what you deliver to the market. Okay, so any questions, any observations or takeaways, please either type them in the chat. I'll give you the opportunity to unmute if you want to talk to me and ask me a question, but I've got a really cool thing to take you through on how you can go and get bucket loads of clients and ascend their investment level in your services. Any questions? Just type 1 in the chat if you believe that you can go and get an appointment today with what I've just shared. Thank you. I know you're listening. Yeah. Even with the stuff that I've just shared with you, the messaging I've shared with you, you should all be able to generate an appointment. Thanks, Marsha. Appreciate you being here. Yeah. So, no questions. Wow, this must be a very comprehensive training. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a little bit of a process where let's say I was just starting out, or I had a handful of clients and I just wanted to go for it, like in terms of just bringing on a whole bunch of clients. The methodology I'm going to share with you is pretty easy, and it's kind of a bit of it's a really soft approach to getting people to want to talk to you about what you do, right? So this is a really easy way to do it. I can't remember where I got this from, but I remember a friend of mine saying to me, John, it takes 1,000,000 years to send the first message, and it takes 30 seconds to send the second message, right? The first message you send is always the hardest message to send, right? But after you've sent one, the next one is just easy, right? The next one's easy. So what I'm going to do is just walk you through this process and the psychology behind the process. I'm going to show you how you can add about $45,000 to $50,000 a month in recurring revenue within the space of about 3 to 4 months, right? This is exactly how you can do this. Now, this is going to take work, right? There's no push button here. There's no tricks here. You're going to have to work this. If you work this process, you'll hit these numbers. I know people who've done this and have hit well beyond the numbers that I'm quoting. They've done more, right? In fact, I'm working with a person right now who's going to do $1 million run rate in less than 6 months. From zero to $1 million run rate in less than 6 months from starting her business, right? So what I'm about to share with you, if you take this to heart, right, and apply yourself, you will generate clients, right? You'll generate clients. Because the number one thing that you need is you need to build your confidence. This is the number one thing that everybody needs. You need to build your confidence around the communication. You need to build confidence about your delivery and what you're doing. You need to build your confidence. And the only way to do that is to work with as many people, open the opportunity to work with as many people as possible as you go. But I'm going to create this as a step-by-step so you kind of see the trajectory. And when you do this, you're setting the expectation. You're setting the expectation as part of this process, right? So if I was wanting to add $45,000 in recurring revenue in the space of 2 to 3 months, this is my idea, and it's not new, but it's my idea of the way that I would approach this without spending money on ads, without going and curating databases, right? Without doing any of that, just following this process. So let me share my screen with you. And we are going to get new customers now. All right, so this is the last screen with the messaging. So we want to get new customers right now. So I want to pick, these are easy marks for me, right? Go to your email account and pull up all the people that you've been emailing, all the businesses that you know, and you've already got a list of people in your own email account, right? So I'm not talking about your database of emails. I'm talking about the emails that you write personally in your email account. There's a whole bunch of people you can reach out to in your email account. So that's the first list that I would go to, right? The second thing is every social media profile that you're in, who are the contacts that follow you, right? Who are following you, not who are you are following, the people who are following you, right? So all the people who are following you, get that list. download it onto a spreadsheet, but get that list, right? In LinkedIn, all the people who are connecting with you, get that list. Then you want to look at your phone contact list. Go and download your phone contact list into a spreadsheet and then put that as part of your list. So these are 3 lists. These are 3 lists, right, that you can get. Now, these lists, you should have on average about 3,000 contacts. Your socials, your emails, you should be able to have about 3,000 contacts. So there's no shortage of people you can reach out to in this process, right? No shortage. The reason why these 3 lists, it means you can message these people. You can either DM them, you can email them, or you can text them, right? So you actually have the ability to access them, right? So you want to pick a platform, right? So you want to pick the platform that has the most contacts, that you have the most contacts on, right? That's the one you want to pick, okay? So you want to pick the platform that you have the most contacts. That could be Facebook, that could be Instagram, that could be LinkedIn, that could be TikTok, right? Where do you have the most contacts? So you want to pick that platform. So what you want to do is you want to personalize a message with something that you know about the person, right? You're going to personalize a message, reaching out to them, right? You're going to check their social profile. You're going to pick something that you have in common or something they've experienced or an event that they've shared. And so this is what you're going to start with. Hey, I just saw you had a baby, or congratulations on launching your new e-com business, or say they switched jobs. Hey, congratulations on a new job, right? You're going to complement them with something in your messaging. It's going to personal. This takes a bit of time. I would just, for me, if I had 2 or 3 hours to do this, I could easily message probably about 100 people a day, right? My goal is to message about 100 people a day just doing this exercise, right? If I could automate it, I would automate it. If I was going to use a VA, I'd use a VA. But this is what I would do. Reach out with something personal, right? You want to reach out every single day. The first 3 to 4 hours a day, messaging 100 people a day, let me know what business you are in. So you need to let people know in your messages, hey, just reaching out, congratulations. By the way, this is what I'm doing right now. This is what I'm working on. This is what I'm helping people with, right? And this is what I'm just reaching out to say hi, right? So you can say, I'm showing people my methodology, my ideas. I'm really open to getting the questions that people ask. Do you mind if we have a chat? Do you mind if we talk? That's the message we want to send. Now, what you want to do is you want to listen and repeat and compliment and ask. This is, people go, John, well, how am I going to talk to these people? Because some of these people are not business people, right? Some of these people are connections. You want to seek out the business people first. But when you're talking to people, say, hey, I'm just reaching out. I just want to say, congratulations on the thing, or I noticed on the thing, that must be exciting, or that must be fun. This is just a little rapport, soft building exercise, right? And then you're going to ask this question. This is the question you're going to ask. By the way, do you know anyone who might be looking for A, B, C? Because I'm opening up a few slots, and I'm just open to helping people in this area. So right now I'm opening up a few slots to help people with A, B, C. Do you know anybody who might be interested in something like that? Right? So here's the thing, you're not asking them to have a look at what you do. You are asking them that this is what I'm working on. This is who I work with. Do you know anybody who'd be interested? I'm opening up a few slots and I'm trying to help companies do A, B, or C because I'm opening up slots. Do you know anybody? Right?
Well, I presume that could be, tied in with some of the other stuff you mentioned earlier, like, do you know anyone who wants to automate their referral process? Do you know anyone who wants 100 leads a month? Or do you want anyone who would be interested in this case study?
Exactly. So we're just doing a little ask. We're asking for a favor from people who we've had some form of connection from. That's what we're trying to do in this process, right? So in here, oftentimes what will happen, and this has happened to me, happens a lot, people say, I'm interested in that thing, right? I want to know more about that thing, right? So they're going to put themselves into that situation. So 2 things are going to happen. You're going to get a bunch of referrals, right? And you're going to get people who are interested in what you're doing. Remember, this is the game that you're playing to generate clients, right? I'm not going to talk about niches and stuff like that. That's something completely different. But this is what I'd be doing. If I was really scrambling to build my experience, this is how I would go and get a bucket load of people to open up towards generating appointment opportunities, getting a bucket load of referrals, and people who are genuinely interested in what I'm doing, right? In terms of what I'm doing. That's what I'm looking at here, okay? So I'm taking 5 clients at an incredible deal of X. Let me talk about this, right? The reason why I talked about gradually growing up to like 45, 50 grand a month, what you want to do is, let's say you set a price point, a standard price point at $5,000 a month for your services, right? Let's say you set a standard price point. So one thing that you can do with people, and this is to make it a no-brainer deal, and remember, we're going to increase this, but I'll explain the cadence. I'm looking for 5 people right now to use our premium service because we really want to dial in on getting this type of result. And here's what we're doing, whatever it is that you're doing for them. Normally, we charge $5,000 for this service. I'm opening this up to 5 people where you're going to save 3 grand a month, and it'll only cost you $1,800 or $900 if you get going. I'm looking for 5, right? So this is what we normally charge for this service, anchor a price high, right? And then what you're going to do is I'm looking for 5 people to take advantage of this because we really want to work with you closely to get this outcome. What we want is we want to make sure that you do what we ask you to do. We want feedback so we can improve what we're doing, and we want a testimonial. So we're willing to spend 3 grand a month of our money to work with you closely to get an outstanding result, right? You're going to offer this to 5 people only, 5 people, right? You get me? So all you're doing is you want to ask, is you're going to do a deal, anchor a high price. This is the service we provide, the level of investment we have. We're looking for 5 people to do this thing. And so we're willing to do it at this price point, right? 5. So now you've got 10 grand a month, right? You've got 5 on board. So now you're going to do the same thing next month. And what you're going to do is this, because whilst you're working, getting them onboarded, going through the process, right? You're going to do, because you've now validated the 5 people value what you have to offer at that price point, you're going to go and ask for another 5 next month. We're looking for 5 people to do this thing at this price point. So it's no longer 2 grand, it might be $3,500, right? So the next 5 are 3,500, not 2 grand, right? So if you've got 5 people, 3,500, you've added $17,000 in recurring revenue to your business on top of the 10 you've already got. So now you're at $27,000 for the next 5. Then you're going to go and look for 5 more people. Those 5 people are going to save 20%, $1,000. So now you're going to charge them 4 grand, or they might save 20% because you're charging 6. They might pay 4.5, right? So those next 5. So at that rate, you're going to be at a run rate of about $45,000 a month in recurring revenue. But here's what's going to happen. And it might happen sooner than this, by the way, right? This is just to show you what you can happen. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get more and more confident, right? But at 15 clients, you're working. You're doing the things you need to do. You're implementing. You're helping them go through that process. Because you've increased the level of revenue, you're also able to hire more support, right? So you can work faster with your clients because you've got money, right? You're making 45 grand a month. You can hire a team of 4 or 5 people and still make a really hot chunk of change, right? On top of that. So what you're doing is you create a no-brainer deal at the first 5. It's still a no-brainer deal at the next 5, and it's still a good deal at the next 5. Anybody after that, and here's the thing, you might do this sooner. You might sit there and go, you know what? This is what we should be charging for this. And you'll automatically go to the anchored price. You'll automatically go to the anchored price. You won't wait for 15 clients. You might do this at 10 clients, right? But what I'm saying is, if you want to build a cadence, so imagine this, if you're working with 15 clients, you're going to get some serious experience across the board. Yes? Do you agree? You're going to get a lot of experience, right? You're going to start knowing what the pitfalls are, where things break, where they don't break, where you can improve, right? You're going to start to, because you've got volume, you're now going to start to train team to scale, right? You're going to bring in support to enable you to scale. I would encourage you to use your resource partners like Globotel to do the heavy lifting. That's where your scale is, right? But this is a really quick way, if you're focused on doing this, and I've got a few people that are actually doing this right now, is they're just going 5 by 5 by 5, right? And so they get to a point where they're going, great, now this is what we should be charging. It becomes your standard price. And because you're full and because you're busy, right? Well, by bringing on people, you're going to charge the premium end of the scale. You're going to start taking clients on at a premium. So that's the strategy of incrementally increasing the pricing scale, right? That's the strategy to incrementally increase. What it does for you is it builds your confidence, right? Because when people accept the validation at one price and you then up the price, you only need one person to say yes, and you know there's a validation. So now that becomes the standard. You're only as good as the last price you offered, right? You know, you're only as good as the last game you played, yeah? So now that becomes a standard. You've got validation, you can step up into the next level, right? And so this is how you eliminate price sensitivity from yourself, because when you own it, most clients will step up to it, right? Most clients will step up to it, yeah? I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and that somebody wanted them to build like a go high level funnel, right? And the person that they spoke to already had a funnel, and they were saying, hey, I would either like to license your funnel, or could you build the funnel for me? And normally this person would have just gone and done a stupid low price. But thankfully they've been listening to me. I've infected their thinking and said, yeah, we could build that funnel out for you for $25,000. And the person went, done, right? She blurted the price out. She blurted it out because they saw the funnel. They saw what went into the funnel. They thought, well, can we license it, or, you know, can you build it for us? And she just went, well, okay, 25 grand. And they went, done. Right? Now, she was taken aback. She nearly fell off her chair when that happened. But because she was so decisive about it, that's where the person went, okay, I get it. I see what goes into this. I get it. That was a good deal. In fact, some might think that might have been too cheap at 25 grand to build that funnel, right? So understand that the reason I'm sharing this with you is you will own the value, but the fastest way to own it is to incrementally increase your asking of the price. Most people in our world are way below par of what they should be charging for the service they're providing. Way below. There are businesses spending a ton of money, well above what you're doing, 4 to 5x of what you're doing. And you would think, how can they afford to do that? They understand the value. They understand it's important to get the job done, right? So I'm going to stop sharing right now. Happy to answer any questions you've got about what I've just shared. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them.
Hey, John, it's Marsha.
Yes. Hey, Marsha.
Hi. I'm in between niches, so to speak. I've got clients in one niche, and I want to step into a larger company niche. And so, with this strategy, how would I approach the actual, what I would say to people?
Well, what niche do you want to go after first? Because I don't know what niche you want, so I can't help you with the strategy. Tell me who you're going after, and I'll say this is what I would do to go after that market.
Med spas.
What's your niche? Med spas?
Med spas, yeah.
Okay. So do you know any med spa owners?
Yeah, so not like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you ever run a med spa business?
No.
Have you ever worked with a med spa?
No.
Okay. So talk to the people you know first. Ask them, this is what I would do, right? I would go and very quickly talk to the people you know who run a med spa, or if you go to a particular med spa, say, hey, I've been here, I've been a customer, I'm just really curious, I just want to know a couple of things from your perspective, and you need to ask some questions, right? I would reach out to your friends, family, associates first and say, what med spa do you go to? And then you're going to reach out to the owner of that med spa and says, hey, Mary Louise, blah, 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 recommended, said you guys were the best med spa in town. I just wanted to touch base with you. And then they will accept a phone call from you, right? So you're going to talk to a few med spa owners. That's the fastest way to do it, is find out who goes to a med spa and say, somebody recommended you, or this person, your customer, said that you were great, and tell them that they were great, and they're going to more likely accept your phone call, right? So now you want to very quickly, you want to say, and this is what I know, the industry that you're going after is actually on a trajectory of about a 12% per annum growth rate. It's huge. It is a really, really good industry because it's a massive growth rate. Second thing is that more men are using med spas. In fact, it's one of the largest emerging markets, and men actually spend more money than women on med
Well, that's
spas.
interesting.
You believe it, this complexion doesn't come cheap, right? So more men are spending more money on med spas. So this is a huge, growing, evolving market, right, in terms of what's going on. And also the average med spa invests about $1 million in their location. So the fit out for a med spa with equipment and stuff like that, about $1 million. And if you're doing things like cool sculpting or lipo, they have a lipo machine type thing. Those machines are 180 grand each. They're not cheap, right? So there's money tied up in that industry and in that business. But the way I would get a med spa is I would say, the reason I'm reaching out is because I just want to ask you a couple of questions about how are you using things like AI to get customers, or are you using AI? How are you doing, what do you think some of the changes are going on? What have you noticed? In your opinion, as a med spa owner, what do you believe the most important things are to be able to grow and expand the business you're in? Are you looking to expand to multiple locations, or this is it, all your eggs in one basket and you've got to make this work? What was your intent for this? You're just asking questions. And so what's going to happen for this, for you, Marsha, is they're going to start asking you questions. So they're going to turn the tables, right? They're going to go, so Marsha, you're asking a lot of interesting questions. So what is it that you do, right? And then that's where you go, well, I can demonstrate that for you, right? And so you can choose whatever service you provide and say, well, let's put your business in this picture. Are you doing this right now? No. If you were to do this right now, what difference do you think about? Oh, there's be a great difference, right? You can do activation campaigns. You can do, hey, let's run a social media campaign or social media management campaign. Let's run a text callback. Let's run an automated system to make sure that people show up for their bookings. There's all little things that you can do. So you can ask the questions, are you doing these things now? They're going to go, no. Well, if you were to do these things now, what would the impact be? Why would you want to do this? Tell me why you'd want to do this. Oh, well, we're not doing it right now. I know we should be doing something like this. We don't know how to do it, right? If you implemented that system, what difference would that make to your med spa? And they'll go, well, we'll get a lot more show-ups. We'll certainly get a lot more people using our cool sculpting or our lipo machines. Yeah. And I would often say, when you say more, what does more mean to you? What do you think that number is? So I'm looking for their number. I'm not looking for more. I'm looking for percentage of growth or how numbers, right? Oh, we should be able to get another 10 patients a week on this. Great. What's your average fee for the cool sculpting thing? Oh, average fee is like $4,000 to $6,000. Well, 10 patients a week is 40 grand a week. That's $160,000 a month, right? Even if we did half of that, Marsha, would that be cool? Remember, it's her number, not yours. And she'll go, yeah, that'll be really cool. Okay, great. Are you open to us working on a plan to actually showing you how you can implement that and get that done? Are you cool with that? And they're going to go, of course I am, right? And say, great. So look, I just want to be right up front with you. Normally the budgets on these things is roughly here, but knowing that what your average sale is, you could handle that, can't you? So you anchor a price, right? And they'll go, well, yeah, if we're doing those numbers easily, right? Great. So you know what to do next, don't you? You show them the plan and you say, great, you like the plan? Why do you like this plan? What do you want to do with this plan? I want to buy it. Then you plug them in and you work with them. So if I was reaching out or reaching out to med spas, I would do the same thing that I've just done here in that last piece, but I would go to my friends and say, what med spa do you go to? Right? Okay. Where do you go? Tell me what the spa is. Who's the person who looks after you? Do you know who the owner is? Right? If you don't, find out who the owner is. So, hey, Mary said that you guys are amazing. She's been coming to you for years. You've been looking after, making you look fantastic. She just highly speaks of you. And I just want to reach out to you because she recommended I speak to you, the owner. It's like Mary's doing the owner a favor by sending them you. Does that make sense?
Right.
That's how I get a bucket load of med spas. Okay.
Okay. Right.
I have a few clients that I work with in this market. It's a very, very lucrative market. In marketing, there's big dollars in med spas. It's a good niche and it's super fast. And I would go niche with a niche. I would find product categories within the niche because there are certain services they provide that are high value services. I would focus on, hey, we specialize in people who run cool sculpting machines. That's where our marketing is. We want more people to get cool sculpting, right? Rather than saying we want to bring more people to your med spa, Well, if a person's spending, $70 on a facial, or I could be way out of whack there, it might be $160 on a facial, right? Then, how many times, if they come once a month, they come once every couple of months, that client's only worth about, $600-700 a year to the spa. However, somebody who's doing cool sculpting, who's going to look fantastic after they get the treatments, right, is going to refer other people to spend $4,000 to $6,000. So if you can find a high value niche within a niche, that's what I would do. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Does that answer your questions?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Johnny, does your outreach strategy emails change if it's high ticket? No, Johnny, they're human beings, just like you and me. They will respond to messages just like you and me do. So no, you don't have to shift it up as to the value of the business. Relevancy is the key. Relevancy is the key in terms of what I would focus on. Celia asks, in the scenario, do you continue to send emails, DMs, etc. after you get no response? Yes, Celia, I keep sending them. I email and text message my familiar list who are not my clients every single month, and we still get clients every single month, right? I reach out to people and say, hey, here's a new project we're working on. This is what we're working on right now. This is where you get the opportunities. Have to run. Tim, thank you. Appreciate that. He's one of our champions. Tim sells GHL at 30 grand a month. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Wow. That's what people are paying for GHL, right? Some people are selling GHL for 297. Tim sells it for 30 grand, right? Yeah. He has lots of clients that pay him above $7,000 a month for GHL. Pretty cool. So questions, I'm here. I'm happy to answer your questions. Damien Papworth, can you do me the kindness and unmute for me for a second?
Sure, John.
Of the stuff that you've heard me talk about here, what stood out for you?
One thing that I really enjoyed was the referral section, when part of your scripting to ask if there is someone that you know. I'm actually in the moment, I'm actively looking to buy businesses, not through brokers, but through direct outreach. So it's exactly the same. It's just a sales process, exactly what you're talking about here. And I find that doing cold outreach on LinkedIn is one of my key strategies. And I find that when I say, look, I'm looking to buy a business with these parameters, I go for owners, CEOs, that kind of stuff. When I just go direct like that, would you like a chat? My connection rate on LinkedIn is quite low and my conversations are low. But when I say, do you know anyone who fits these criteria? I'd love to talk to them. All of a sudden, there's, tens of percentage points better connection acceptance on LinkedIn and a lot more conversations. And the conversations aren't for people they know. The conversations are with them about their businesses. It just tones it down a little bit. It just doesn't feel quite like a direct pitch. So it just works better.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you sharing. Rachel, I can see you in the background there playing with your phone. Do you mind unmuting and just letting us know what were your takeaways from what you've heard today? If you can do us the kindness, if you're able to.
Hello, sorry.
That's all right. You don't have to apologize. Multitasking.
So my takeaways for me is obviously the booking of appointments and making sure that I'm actively reaching out to people and making that a priority every day. Obviously probably get a bit bogged down in the admin doing stuff rather than seeking out to book meetings in. Yeah, so that was my main thing that I'm going to focus on every day and make a priority.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing. Dominic G, sitting there in, I don't know if that's a real background, I think.
Yeah.
Takeaways for you, Dominic?
I think just the transition to a higher ticket clientele, which I've been after for a while. And as a matter of fact, I just closed the deal this week. It's fairly sizable. But I think not to be as timid about going for a higher ticket, because the value perception from those who are coming to us is greater than what we perceive it to be. I think you won't get it if you don't ask for it, I think is the biggest takeaway.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. I often say to people, what's your big deal? Like, what's the big price thing that you sell? And they don't have one. And it's like, how can people spend more money with you? You don't have an offer that's big. And if you do have an offer that's big, who would buy that? Like, who would be in line for the big offer, right? And then when you start thinking about it that way, and you start opening up to a conversation of that possibility of talking to people at that level, then it actually becomes very realistic that people actually spend a premium with you, right? Because people right now, I'm in my market, in my businesses, I don't care if I've got to pay a premium. I just need to get it done. Like, I will pay the premium just to get it done, right? Because I know the value of my time. And so if somebody comes to me at a price, I'm finding myself thinking, why is this so cheap? If it's so cheap, it can't be good. Like, that's where my head's going. If you're underpricing me, right, and because I'm busy and because my sensitivity to price is very low, right? I know what things are. I want to get things done. If somebody come in and said, I get this done, well, tell me what it is and I'll sign up for it. You know, I've done 3 things like that this week where somebody's gone, I said, I don't care about, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to jump through any hoops. I don't want to be involved. I just need you to get it done. Tell me what you will charge me. And they will sheepishly give me a bigger price. And I'll go, great, done. Let's go, right? So people are very pragmatic too. Yes, Dominic, you're about to say something.
Yeah, I've got a question for you. So I have another deal. I put a quote out. The guy is a current client that we handle his marketing for a kitchen remodeling company.
Mm-hmm.
We launched a year ago. At the time, he was doing $28,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, he's doing $180,000 a month as a result of what we've done. Now he wants to go into the tiny home storage shed business, of which our company was a featured article on one of their the industry publication.
Yep.
So in July, we gave him a quote. He wanted a detailed quote. We gave him 30 pages of details. He asked for it, he got it.
Yeah.
It provided pricing starting at as low as $27,000 to as much as $35,000. We warned him that pricing would only be good for about 30 days.
Yep.
Then reached out to us earlier this week and said, hey, I want to move forward. What are the payment terms? Given the payment terms, I didn't tell him the pricing's changing. So the pricing is going up about 30% now. My question for you is, when I have that conversation with him and he says, okay, I'm ready to move forward with those payment terms. And I come back to him and say, well, you were going from 28 to 35. Now you're looking at 35 to 42, depending on what you pick.
Yep.
How would you bring that up when he says, well,
okay. This is a tactical thing, Dominic, that a lot of people do, that this pricing is only valid for this moment, right? So I'm going to ask you this question. If he says no to the 30% increase and says, sorry, then we can't just work together. You telling me you won't accept the 27 grand a month, 35 grand a month?
No, I'd walk away.
You would walk away from the deal? You would walk away from the round. Okay, then say exactly what you said to me. Because he is agreeing to that price. He's not agreeing to your new price. That's what he's agreeing to. That's why he's come back to you and said, I want to go ahead. It's taken him a little bit of time to consider that, right? And the only thing he's got in front of him is what you gave him. And regardless of you said the inducement was you had to make this decision in 30 days. That's something that people do. It's a kind of a tactical scarcity deadline type close. And I get that people, it's your business. You do what you want to do. I would never deadline somebody in that way because I would say my worst case scenario is they're going to pay me what I've asked them to pay. That's my worst case scenario. If I would accept that, then I'll be doing the business. He's gone, yes, now you're going to change the deal. You're going to change the goalposts. because you're going to say, hey, I just want to be super clear right up front. When we talked about this, that was like 3 months ago or whatever long the time was. That pricing has now changed. I just want to be very clear about what that pricing is. You can do that, but you have to give a very valid reason as to how your costs have gone up to support the price change. So, Dominic, I would just take the deal. I honestly would. But it's your business. If the deal's not a good deal for you, then don't take the deal. Ask for the higher price. If he likes you and says that, I really want to work with you guys, then I would work with the guys. But I just don't do business that way. Like the only way I would use a deadline funnel is I have to know definitively yes or no at the deadline. And that's what you don't know. He waited, you had time. I would have gone the day before the deadline, I would have gone right then. Tomorrow is it. It's going to increase by 30%. Are you okay with that? I would have done that at the deadline, not, okay, he's fine. He's come back to you. You've gone, okay, he's obviously didn't want the deal or whatever. He's come back to you and said, I want to go ahead. But he wants to go ahead on that price. So you're going to have the awkward conversation. Well, it's not awkward. You're just going to explain this is where we're at. The reason why we're charging 30% more is our costs have gone up, and this is where the costs have gone up to apply or provide that service. So either way, if it were me, I'd take the deal. I couldn't care less about the 30% because that's what he's agreeing to. If I did do the follow-up, like I suggested, where you called him the day before and said, this is the deadline, the price goes up 30%, and he knew back then I would have this conversation. But if that didn't happen, and he's assuming that he's signing up on the deal because he hasn't read that one line, that this deal is only good for 30 days, and if you don't take it, you don't take it, right? That's one line. But out of how many pages? 36 pages?
30.
Right?
He had three interactions with us in the interlude. One. Second, his last business, we 7x'd it on a monthly revenue basis. Third, the industry he's going into, we have a track record within the industry of going from 0 to 20 million a year within 12 months on a repetitive basis. So I feel like value is extremely well known.
So have the conversation. How do you have the conversation? You tell him right up front that deal that we wrote up for you is no longer a deal.
That's exactly what I was planning to do. Just want to get your input on it.
Yeah, I would have called him on the deadline. Like I would have called him at the deadline and said, hey, I just want to be super clear. This is the deadline. I just need to know yes or no if you're going to go ahead with this. Because after today, we're looking at doing that. But
he had an email go to him about a week and a half ahead.
Yeah. No, you're talking somebody spending $360,000 a year, Dominic. I wouldn't have put an email. I would have got on the phone and asked him, do you want to do this or you don't want to do this? That's what I would have done. Email is bullshit. How many emails do you get, Dominic? I get tons of them. I don't read all my emails. Yeah. So the email, he probably missed the email. He probably didn't even see the email, right?
No, actually, he replied back saying that he needs more time to think.
Oh, great. So you didn't give him more time to think on the price?
I just replied back that I need an answer because we have other work ahead of him, which we do. Okay. Yep. And if he wants it to be put into the project mix, and he wants that deadline that he asked for, I need an answer. And that did.
So you've obviously got a relationship with him. Say, hey, dude, you're in for $30,000 more a year, or you're in for another $50,000, $60,000 a year on this deal. Yeah.
I don't think it should mean much in the scheme of things. I wouldn't think you either want it or you don't. If he doesn't, he's not that serious, in my opinion.
Yep, that's okay. Many ways to skin a cat. No disrespect to cats. I like cats. But many ways to manage and do a deal. But yeah, I mean, if there's a relationship there and that was very clear to him, then I would just be right up front and say, hey, I just want to be super clear right up front. The deal you accepted is no longer that price point. This is the investment and here's why, right? And then he's going to make that call. If okay, I'm going to go ahead with that. Let me know if he goes ahead. I'd love to know. That'd be really cool.
I think I'm going to know in the next 10 days maximum, if not.
That's awesome. Thank you. If you want to, Leanne has put a link in the thing. I would highly recommend, if you want to know more, click that link. This is the Facebook link in the group. If you want to, if you haven't joined that Facebook group, this is where I'm going to put this recording. So I'm happy to do that. Any other questions? I'm happy to take questions. I've got 5 minutes before I have to hop on another call. I do. Yeah, I've got 5 minutes. No, we're good. So,
Wait, I got a question.
Malik.
Yep.
Yes.
Malik. So I did the Facebook group reach thing. So I hit up a realtor group asking who was their best roofer that they work with. I got quite a few, I'll say 7 or 8 quality roofers. What's the follow-up?
Dude, do exactly what I told you to do. Reach out to them, said this person recommended you, and I wanted to have a chat.
Okay.
That's the
exactly.
So
okay.
you've got 7 people. You got 7. So thank you for doing that, Malik. You've now got 7 leads you never had before, right? Yeah. So now you can reach out to that person and say, hey, I asked this person and they said you were the best guys. They said you were the best people. Can I talk to, and you've got to find out who the CEO is, right? Okay. So you're going to send this message to the CEO, the owner, and you say, hey, I asked a question and this guy said that you guys are the best guys. I just wanted to reach out and connect with you personally. I've just got a few questions because we're innovating for the roofing industry. He said you were the best person to speak to. Is it okay if we get on a call for 10 or 15 minutes to have a quick conversation? And so now you've got 7 opportunities to create 7 appointments. Okay?
Gotcha.
That's what you got to do. So
Okay.
Thank you for taking that action, Malik. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you saying this was huge value. Thad, how did you become so awesome? I don't know if you directed that to me or Damien Papworth. He's a pretty awesome dude. Or Steve, who's looking pretty awesome, or Leanne, who's outstanding, who's here. But we've got some pretty awesome people here. What is the topic of the next call? Josh, the next call, which is next Thursday, I will be in Bangkok for this call. I'm speaking at a conference. So it's all about, so I'm going to share something with you a little bit different about sales. I'm going to take you through a sales process that allows people to buy, but what I'm going to share next week, I've never shown anybody outside of the people I work with. And so I'm going to walk you through a really simple structure that allows the person to just buy. So anybody you make the offer to, if you use this strategy, it's dangerous, right? People will just buy if you do it, right? So I'm going to share that on this call. It's all about sales, tactical sales, and converting sales is what the next topic's about. I'm going to walk you through a simple process that allows the customer to buy for themselves. Like they're going to walk you through because it makes sense. I'm going to show you how to use one anchoring sentence that if you do this, you are actually going to get a decision. And then when you get to the end, if you do get a question or if you do get a thing like I need to think about it, you've just got to ask one question. It automatically turns that back on themselves where they go, I need to do this, right? So I'm going to show you that tactic. It's really, really simple. Anybody can do it. I took a newbie, a person who just got into this business, closed their first deal. It was a $25,000 deal by following the exact steps I'm going to outline for you on the next call. So we're going to do sales, but I'm going to do some tactical things that I've kind of not shared publicly that work really well to close deals. So in the meantime, the deal for us, and I just want you to type 1 so that you connect with this. The deal, here's the contract, here's the agreement. All of us are going to generate a client by next Thursday. Just type 1 if you agree, if you're committed to that. All of us here are going to generate 1 client by next Thursday. 1, right? So we've got a whole bunch of 1s. And you wrote down, I will close a deal by next Thursday. And you need to look at that every single day and find out who that person is, because that's all you got to work towards is get to the next sale. Thank you for hanging with me. I will put these recordings up into the Facebook group. If you haven't already, that is the link. Just ask to join that. I will let you in. The video from last week is up. The slides from last week is up. All the messaging and stuff like that is there. I'm going to add some stuff, a document that I have that's got some really cool messaging strategies. So you'll be able to get that in the Facebook group. Leanne, Steve, Damien, thank you for the support. Thank you for putting this on. I really appreciate you guys and the awesome work that you do. With that, I want to thank you for hanging, and I will see you in the Facebook group, and I will see you next Thursday. Take care, everybody.